Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you all can see me and hear me well. I am trying something that I haven't done in quite some time. For those who do not know who I am, my name is Tamika Smith, the creative director of Wordsmith Enterprises, and I empower dreamers to become doers of the world while unapologetically allowing their light to shine in a dark world. This is past my bedtime, y'all. We're gonna keep this short and sweet. We're doing a soft launch of the relaunch of Meaningful Messages. I've done 3 seasons of that podcast, and it's been quite some time since I have done a podcast, like a couple years. So we're gonna run it back. We're gonna bring it back. Just to have a voice on certain topics. It's not always going to be about what we're talking about tonight, which is, the anatomy of an apology. In my book, because a lot of people can say they're sorry, and as someone who has experienced a narcissist in various ways, it can be someone that's in a relationship, an intimate partner relationship, and it can be someone that you're dealing with that has power, authority, whether it's at your religious functions at church, or in the workplace. A friend, even be a friendship, y'all. But there's various ways that you can deal with a narcissist. And when you deal with a narcissist, like the kind that we have dealt with when it comes to Sean Combs, known as Diddy, Brother Love, um, all these transformations that he's tried to do publicly without, doing the inner work, it's very telling. And, especially when we come to this film that we saw of the horrific scene from 2018, quite some time. And the apology, it struck a nerve to a lot of people that have experienced someone of his nature. And when I say of his nature, it's clearly abusive, clearly just don't have any remorse whatsoever. It's just someone that wants to save face, someone that wants to save face. And according to psychology today, that is, i'm just doing it because I have to do it, not because I want to do it. It's not a issue where, for me, it was really disturbing to see. I didn't really want to see the video because when you real life, like trauma and abuse in that kind of magnitude, it's like, why do I have to relive and re-traumatize myself when I'm, working clearly in my days and my years to, I have to see that. And I know some people feel like, oh, we have to see something just to prove something. But my thing is, why not just believe somebody until you are proven otherwise? It's just weird to me. And especially, even though it's the topic of the moment, because it's going to, like I say all the time, it is going to go to someone else. But because Sean Combs has been in this for quite some time, quite some years, is I guess it's shocking for people when you see something like that, especially if you never encountered abuse. And when it comes to abuse, it's 1 in 3 women in the US. It's a global issue around the world. The UN, whether you know it or not, the UN has a whole division of domestic violence. It's that serious around the world, y'all. It goes through different kind of demographics. It goes through different kind of classes, your economic status, all of that. It is a universal issue. It is a community issue. It's a family issue. It's everybody's issue, because the family dynamics are being impacted in this in such a way. And when it comes to abuse in the US, as far as stats are concerned, it's 1 in 3 women in a lifetime. 1 in 4 men. I did a little bit more research. It's now 1 in 4 men, and that's including rape. I'm not going to say the R word, trigger warning, but it also includes that as well, because they are synonymous with each other. So when it comes to this, we're going to listen to it. When it comes to this apology video, um, we're gonna dig right on into it. And I got to get off and do some other stuff. But let's listen.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
This morning, Sean Diddy Combs is breaking his silence.
I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
Combs stepping out in Miami the same day he posted the apology on Instagram. The incident took place at a Los Angeles hotel in 2016. Surveillance footage obtained by CNN shows Ventura walking down a hallway with Combs chasing after her. He then proceeds to grab Ventura, throwing her to the ground before kicking and dragging her as she lay limp. The assault appears to match an incident described in a lawsuit Ventura filed against Combs in November that alleged that Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. The lawsuit went on to say that Combs threw glass vases at Ventura in the hotel's hallway, which this newly released video also appears to show. At the time of the lawsuit, an attorney for Combs denied Ventura's allegations, calling them outrageous and offensive. They reached a settlement within 24 hours. But in Combs' video Sunday, he now admits the abuse and claims he went to therapy and rehab after this assault.
I went and I sought out professional help. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry.
In a statement, Ventura's attorney said Combs' apology is more about himself than the many people he has hurt, that he was only compelled to apologize once his repeated denials were proven false, shows his pathetic desperation. Despite the graphic video, the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office says they cannot charge Combs with a crime in connection to this specific incident because California's statute of limitations has passed. But Combs is facing multiple civil lawsuits with allegations including abuse and sexual assault, which Combs has denied. He is also under federal investigation. His California and Florida properties were raided in March, but he has not been charged with any crime. Representatives for Sean Combs did not respond to our request for comment. Now, in November, that lawsuit that Cassie had filed, she alleges that Sean Diddy Combs paid the hotel $50,000 for that hallway security footage that you just saw. But in a statement to NBC News, IHG Hotels and Resorts said, quote, "This hotel is no longer under IHG management, and we do not have any access to prior incident records or footage," adding that they did not receive money for this footage.
Thanks.
Well, when it comes to the hotel chain, of course, if you don't have proof, you're going to deny it. Don't nobody want to, be associated with Sean Combs right now in this situation unless they're clout chasing. So, it's convenient. And yes, hotels, they change management over the years, but of course they're not going to admit to, hey, I was sold out for $50,000. That's not the only organization or person that has been complicit to Sean Combs' issues over the years. It's just so many years and so many people. They have sudden deaths. It's a lot of doom and gloom associated with Sean Combs. So, it's not that we want to see him get unalive, not so ever. It's just that when you take an accountability and you really do the work and you're not just, okay, I'll do it just because I have to do it. And it look like he's chilling out with his homie, Russell Simmons, which is also a predator. And it's like, whatever, man. An apology is change behavior. And even looking at some of the clips on that video, which I did not see the full in its entirety until, there was little clips, and I was just like, taken aback, even watching how he hit her and even the abuse that was taken that was in that clip. To see so many people over the weekend, and I had to take my breaks because it was just overwhelming for me. And, my incidents happened over the course of nearly 5 years. And I finally left back in 2010. But when you're dealing with trauma, it can get back into, you can get triggered by certain things, by certain actions, and watching, the video and then seeing, the victim blame. And it's just the culture, unfortunately, of when it comes to abuse and grape. That's what we're going to call it, culture, because they're synonymous. They're synonymous with each other, because when you're dealing with monsters such as this person, Diddy. They have they get kicks off of control, manipulation, making them feel higher than what they actually are. They want to feel important. They want to. Yeah, they. It's just so much with a narcissist, right? They do the love bombing at the beginning of a relationship. They make it seem like, you're just the only thing. You're so important. They have your full attention, and then after they, do what they do or whatever, then they discard you. It's just a real, real psychotic way of having a relationship. And it's not funny, but it reminds me of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of situation. And the person can be very, very charming, very charismatic. And then behind closed doors, you're dealing with a monster. And it's just like, who in the world did I involve myself with? And when you're dealing with, I'm just looking over some notes here because some of you guys think that abuse is only physical. It comes with emotional issues, it comes with psychological issues, it comes with um, financial, spiritual abuse. I think I went over the emotional part already, but there's so many different various forms of abuse. The physical part is when it escalates to that because it can be very dangerous. And it's also very dangerous when someone is trying to leave. Men can get abused too. I have said this so many times over the years that men can be abused too. And when men are abused, a lot of the times it's verbal, and sometimes it can be physical too. If unfortunately the resources when it comes to men being abused, it's just not as taken as seriously because people like to project and say, hey, because a woman is believed to be the weakest, the weakest gender. And so they'll, guys, they'll be like, how you let a woman beat on you? Da, 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 da. And they don't go to the authorities and they just go about their day, go about their life and move on. And when it comes to a narcissist, do you know how to look out for a narcissist? We talked about the love bombing. They make horrible excuses and ignore their bad behaviors. People are complicit because it could be power, it could be money, and financial is another form of abuse too. And when you have that control, and right now we're seeing the demise of Sean Combs, the money, power, and respect. He's losing all of that in front of the public eye. He only gave that apology because it is affecting his livelihood, not because, and I know some reports say, and it's just a save face report, that in the lawsuit back in November where they did the settlement that he can no longer say her name, Cassie Ventura, publicly anymore. So now people are saying, well, he did apologize. No, baby. An apology, a true apology, is change behavior. An apology is not linking up with, certain people in the church world to say, I went to God, I was in a dark place, and, you know, I just, it was inexcusable. I'm not looking for that. It's like it was a real weird, and I don't know why the PR team approved it. And when he posted that initial video, that allegation that he claimed that was so outrageous a couple weeks ago was still up on his page, and he conveniently took it down when people started complaining about it. So the beauty of social media is that when a lot of people are saying certain things, that people pay attention, that people of his magnitude pay attention to the court of public opinion, because his livelihood is at stake, and the mayor of New York is talking about we're considering rescinding the key to the city, which, all right, he everybody's trying to get their 2 cents, their media coverage, so they can be on front of this news story because it's the latest thing that we're talking about right now. But when it comes to, these narcissists, right? We have to be aware, and we have to be aware. When we are aware, that's when we can change. When we are aware, that's we can put, to remove the blinders, put our glasses on so we can really see what we're dealing with and know how to properly, and most importantly, safely get out of an abusive relationship, because it is very, very dangerous when you are leaving. The statistics show this. I live to talk about it. I left several times, and on average, it takes about 7 times to really leave an abusive relationship of that magnitude. So when you're dealing with a narcissist, they're very strategic, is very calculated moves. They instill fear, and they say certain things, or they might provoke you to, have certain emotions and make you very, very uncomfortable. And it's like walking on eggshells. Um, and there's just so many forms of abuse. Again, they'll isolate you from your family and friends, and I can provide resources after this. You can hit me in the DM. I am approachable, but do not be crazy. Don't be weird in my DMs. But I am approachable when it comes to certain resources, especially in the US. I know I may not be so much more aware of things outside of the country, but I'll be more than willing to help you out in some research if you want the help. But that's all I'm getting involved in, because I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story time. Some people, when I was involved with a certain nonprofit, and some people just feel like, it's a quick money grab and try to scam us, child, for some money for her and her boyfriend at the time. That was a crazy story, but it happens. It happens, right? But when it comes to dealing with a narcissist, you have to go no contact with these people. It can be a little tricky when you have kids involved. Uh, having a proper exit strategy. And in my book, the first book that I wrote, um, all 4 books here actually, but yeah, the first book, Shattering the Glass House, I talk about the exit strategy, having some money on the side, making a plan of escape, because God will provide you with a way of escape if you really want to leave that situation. Because at the end of the day, something as simple as existing feels complicated at the time when you are dealing with an abuser. But it is possible to leave, to live, to prosper, and to be happy, and to really have joy. Joy that cannot be taken from anybody on this earth. We're all works in progress, and Lord knows I'm a work in progress. But to have the joy that I have now and have the peace is nothing like it. So I'll sum it up to say, what is an apology? An apology is change behavior. An apology is taking corrective actions, and it's not performative. It's genuine, not because you feel forced to do something because I have to do this, not I want to do this, right? And if you are in an abusive relationship, there are tools, there are resources. You have to do the work. The work is not going to be pretty, it's not going to be glamorous, but you're going to have to do some soul work. You're going to have to go to some therapy. You're going to have to think about your pickers when it comes to relationships, and be aware. Hey, my picker is off. Because if you don't heal properly from dealing with these toxic kind of relationships, guess what's going to happen? You're going to you're going to end up finding yourself in another type of relationship like that, and you don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want to go back into another cycle of abuse, because it's very demonic, and it is also very dangerous. So I am signing off. Meaningful Messages Podcast Season 4 is officially back. And my name is Tamika Smith, signing off. Be well, be safe, be loved. Take care.